Hello, welcome again. As I said before, I'm finding photos. This is for GMC, for Silverados, pickup trucks, two for four-wheel drive vehicles. Looking down, as you can see, this is the Vortec, the popular Vortec engine that they have for Chevys, GMCs. If you want to find the components, let's start. First of all, the air filter. Starting from this way, you always find the air filter this way. Sometimes there are clips, sometimes there are screws. In this one there are screws. Now when you go over here, this way the air is being drawn in this way to obviously the engine. If you're looking for specific things, let's say I'm looking for mass airflow sensor, GMC. If you look over here, you can see wiring. These are electrical wiring. Whenever you're looking for a sensor, look for harness or electrical wiring. I don't know if you get a picture of that. You see right here, there are wires going in. This is the sensor, the mass airflow sensor. All of this is the mass airflow sensor, telling you how much air is being drawn in to the engine to tell the computer how much fuel we have to match that with. If you're looking for, again, mass airflow sensor, look in this area after the filter in the air intake chamber. If you're looking for something called intake air temperature sensor usually is around here also, by the air flow chamber over here. This one, it's outside of the picture. Sometimes they are together and you'll find 5 wires instead of 3 wires. If it has 3 wires, it's a mass airflow sensor by itself. If it's an intake air temperature sensor, it'll be in this area and it'll have 2 wires. Again, always look for the harness, always look for the wiring. You know it's electrical and you know there's a sensor there in that area. Always look for this. The boot, sometimes it's broken, sometimes it's cut. And look at that. Other thing is that we talked about, there are different types of, like we said, fasteners or screws used, and also clamps. The other one was the squeeze type. Sometimes there are the ones that you use are you have to use a screwdriver, a nut driver, or a 1/4 inch. This one is that type. There's a screw right here. If you can see it well, I don't know if you can. The screw is right here. It's not a squeezing type. Okay, now, as that goes to the engine, there has to be somewhere called the throttle body, as we spoke about before. Now, the throttle body is where you go and you press the pedal. After you press the pedal, it lets air in the throttle body and then it lets in fuel. So therefore, for these type, instead of them going this way, they go this way, in this direction. You will not see this in this picture. They're a little tricky to see in this picture. And therefore, when you look for the throttle body, there are cables going from here to here, opening it up, again, the throttle body. As was in the Honda, we saw it because it was horizontal. These are almost like vertical, and they are in this area. And once you take this off, you can see these things, the cover and all these things. Again, in this picture, you won't see it. But what you see are the cables. See these cables? These are cables going to cruise control and going through the throttle body. The throttle body sometimes is here. In this one, as you can tell, as sometimes it's under here. This is a V6 and a V8 is the same thing. The engine is going this way. The transmission is going this way. That's why you see all these pulleys, all these pumps, alternator, and the pump on the bottom you can't really see is over here. For the Honda, it was on this side, depending where the engine is. If the engine is going this way, the pulleys and pumps will be on this way. The engine is going this way, then the pumps will be facing you when you open up the hood. Therefore, if you want to find the throttle body, you follow the cables and where it goes to. In this instance, it goes over here. Like I said, sometimes under the cover, you have to take off the cover and it'll be exposed over there. When you find the throttle body, it's usually in the air intake system, like in this one. This one over here, you'll find the TPS sensor. The TPS sensor, if you can see it, sometimes over here. Goes through the throttle body. When I'm opening up the pedal or pressing the pedal, I'm pulling this up. I'm opening up the plate. The TPS tells you in degrees how much this is being open. It tells the computer that. Again, if you want to find that, go through the throttle body, look for electrical wiring, a harness, and you'll find it over here. Usually it's 3 wires. Again, about the radiator, here's the fan. Now, if you're looking for, let's say you're looking for the compressor, the crankshaft is always on the bottom, the biggest pulley. If you're looking for power steering pump, the power steering pump will be in this area also. The belt, and like I said, hard to see, but the belt is right here. Right over here. You'll have an idler wheel over here, and you'll have a tensioner over here. The water pump will be on the bottom. If you want to know where the water pump is, as we said, look for the radiator. Look for the fattest hose. The fattest hose is right here. This is the upper radiator hose. Thermostat opens, this gets hot, liquid goes here to the radiator to allow it to cool. So therefore, this one over here will go back, and if you follow it, it'll lead you to the water pump. Again, out of this picture. You can't see everything in this picture, but hopefully you can get some idea of what I'm trying to convey to you. So when you go look under the hood, you'll know and understand what to find. Again, the radiator is here, so therefore you're looking for the radiator cap. The radiator cap, and then you will follow this line over here. See this? Right here. This goes to the reservoir. Recovery tank. When temperature gets hot, the coolant expands in the radiator. When it expands, it has to go somewhere. It has to be dumped somewhere. It goes right to this reservoir tank, the recovery tank they call it. And it's a pressurized system, obviously. If it holds pressure, it's fine. If it doesn't hold pressure, you might have a leak. Now, other things always, like we said before, same thing. The battery in the Honda was over here. The fuse box was over here. Over here, as you can see, it's over here, the battery. As you can see over here, the fuse box is over here. See the type of harness right here. Struts are over here. Master cylinder does not change. It's always over here. But behind, as you can see, the lines going from the master cylinder reservoir. And there'll be also a light telling you how much the level is. Sometimes it's over here. I don't know if you can see in the picture. There is probably a harness or connection on this side telling you how much the level is. Telling the computer, actually. Behind that, you always find a booster, a brake booster, a vacuum booster. This line is the vacuum line going back to the engine. When you need vacuum, you go into the engine. Okay? So again, if you're looking for the pulleys, a rear wheel drive, it's over here. You can have 3 cylinders here, 3 cylinders here, 4 cylinders depending. And it goes, then you'll find the oil pan, then you will find the transmission going this way. For front wheel drive, engine will be going this way, like the Hondas. All the pulleys will be here. And then there's a transaxle that goes over here to the 2 wheels, so front wheel drive. The struts are in this area. They don't change in this area. Now, from the bottom view, these are control arms. Steering mechanism, right? The boots, you always have to check over here for leakage. These are called tie rods. Tie rods turn the wheels, obviously. This is the bottom view. This is the bottom control arm. There's an upper control arm which is not seen in this picture. Doesn't matter. There are bushings, and also there are, if you can see them, besides the rotor, this is the rotor, obviously. There are also, if you can see them, there are also lower ball joints. The ball joints over here. And there are ball joints on the upper, which is out of the photo. Anyway, hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. There's a stabilizer bar. Sometimes the link, there's problems with the link. They're not secured. And the stabilizer bar is over here. Remember, we're talking about four-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive vehicles. Therefore, there's a stabilizer bar. There's a gearbox sometimes. Sometimes there's an idler arm. Sometimes there's a pitman arm. Obviously, this and this is part of the suspension. And therefore, you have to make sure, even if when you pass inspection, you have to make sure that the suspension parts are secure and not loose. So therefore, make sure the bushing, make sure the tie rods, make sure the ball joints are good. And this will be in this area. Again, not so easy to see sometimes in this part of these photos, but hopefully you get a good idea at least what it is. This is after it goes to the oil pan is over here. Probably you can see the filter, the oil filter is right here. Different, looks like a different color. And this is the screw that you take off, the drain plug that you take off to take out obviously the oil. So this is the oil pan. Next to the oil pan is always the transmission. If you want to do a flush, you take out all this pan, the filter, the gasket, which is located. You follow the back of the engine, follow the oil pan, follow this to the transmission. Now these are the exhaust. These are the exhausts coming from the engine. So therefore, let's go again now. After we got there, now we'll talk about the axle, the rear differential over here. This is another shock absorber that they have. Remember, four-wheel drive. We go into the muffler over here. As you can see, this big, huge thing over here is the fuel tank. So if you want the fuel pump, boy, if you have a lot of fuel in there, you're in trouble. The suspension for this are called leaf springs. As you can see, these are leaf springs. From here to here are leaf springs. As from here to here, leaf springs. Again, muffler's here. The cover for the rear differential is here. So you know what you're getting into. Like I said, it doesn't show you every single thing, but at least it'll give you a location, or you have an idea what is underneath and what is on the top. Okay, so please subscribe to the channel, and I'll be making another video about this, more into detail about the components. And remember, the spare tire is underneath here. This is where the spare tire is. Very important. Okay? Now, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.